A record-breaking bridge. A marvel of engineering. Imagine standing on a bridge so high, you're looking down from a structure almost as high as 2 Eiffel Towers stacked together. This isn't science fiction, it's the reality of the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge of China. But what engineering secrets make this breathtaking feat possible? This isn't just a bridge, it's a masterpiece at dizzying heights. It rises some 625 meters above the canyon floor and stretches nearly 2,890 meters across the Huajiang Canyon. Its 2 main towers reach about 262 meters tall. This bridge will connect communities, boost tourism, and slash travel time to a few minutes. And after 3 years and 8 months of construction, it's ready to open to the public. Record-breaking infrastructures aren't new in China. The country boasts several feats detailed in the Guinness Book of Records, including the world's longest sea-crossing bridge, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, the world's largest high-speed rail network, and the South-North Water Transfer Project. China also already holds the record for the world's highest bridge, with the Guizhou Bridge at 1,852 feet high, which in 2016 displaced the Millau Viaduct in southern France for that title. Now, a new bridge has joined the team. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge is a newly completed suspension bridge located in Guizhou Province in the southwestern region of China. The bridge, under construction since January 2022, crosses the Bipan River as it passes through the deep Huajiang Canyon. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge measures 625 meters or 2,051 feet above the canyon floor, surpassing the previous record holder for deck height, the Douge Bridge, which passes over the same river. It boasts a total length of 2,890 meters, around 9,482 feet, and a long span, the longest suspended section between towers, of about 1,420 meters, that's 4,659 feet. The height clearance and span make it not only the highest but also one of the largest span suspension bridges built in mountainous terrain. But why build such a colossal bridge here? And why now? The Bipan River, also known as the North Winding River, must be the only waterway in the world to have not 1 or 2 but 3 successive world's highest bridge records. The first was the Bipan Guangying Bridge, which broke the 1,000-foot height barrier in 2003. Then in 2016, the Bipan Douge Bridge, constructed using novel truss design, blasted over the 500-meter height barrier with a cable-stayed span. Nearly a decade later, the Huajiang Canyon Bridge crosses the deepest part of the Bipan River, breaking the 2,000-foot height barrier for the very first time. This new bridge has been fondly dubbed a New China Miracle that spans almost the length of the National Mall in Washington, floating in place over a deep ravine locally called Earth's Crack. But why is this such a big deal? Unlike the US, which already has a highly developed highway system, many regions in western China remain poorly connected. This is especially true of inland provinces like Guizhou, a mountainous area near the border with Vietnam, known for its dramatic karst landscape. Despite its isolation and relative poverty, Guizhou, roughly the size of Missouri, boasts an extensive infrastructure network, with 11 airports, tall bridges, and new roads. Its terrain created deep gorges and vast areas isolated by mountains and rivers, making road travel difficult and slow. Thanks to its terrain, Guizhou has earned the nickname the World's Bridge Museum for having nearly half the world's tallest 100 bridges, underscoring the region's unique demand for large-scale bridges. Still, effective transportation networks were very limited, and transport across the area was challenging due to the mountainous, rugged terrain that covers over 90% of the area. In fact, regardless of the extensive construction of bridges and highways, crossing Guizhou Province was a prolonged and difficult task that could take anywhere from 90 minutes to 9 hours depending on the route taken. Now the new bridge will drastically change travel time, making it possible to cross the ravine in just over 1 minute. The decision to build the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge was part of China's broader infrastructure development strategy known as the Strategic Hinterland Strategy. And now things are about to change. Groundbreaking and initial construction officially commenced on January the 18th in 2022, and by April the 21st, 2023, the first tower of the suspended part reached a height of 199 meters, that's 653 feet, and work had begun on the upper transverse beam. Construction continued at a dizzying yet impressive pace, and on January the 10th, 2024, the first main suspension cable was installed. This marked the transition to the core superstructure phase. Creating a deck with such high elevation, the engineers had no choice but to span the 625-meter deep gap with a suspension span of epic proportions. To solve this problem, engineers created a stiffened steel truss with a main span of 1,420 meters. This span is 10 meters longer than the Humber Bridge, a suspension bridge in the UK that held the record as the longest suspension bridge for over 17 years. To hold the 1,420-meter span in place, engineers used more than 22,000 tons of steel. This is more than enough steel to build 3 Eiffel Towers. Every piece had to be lifted and secured hundreds of meters above the canyon floor, with winds, weather and gravity constantly fighting against the construction crews. On the north side of the Huajiang Canyon, there is a steep slope that required the construction of a concrete tower 262 meters tall, with the south tower being a more normal-sized 205 meters tall. In the end, the total length of the bridge is 2,890 meters, with more than 24 approach spans of 40 meters. As for design choices, the designer of the Huajiang Bridge wanted to give the span a classic look that would remain forever timeless. This can be seen in the tower construction that are reminiscent of the Art Deco era, with a layered tower top connection that has dramatic setbacks and reminds many of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. But this bridge will be more than just a bridge. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge will be a groundbreaking tourist attraction, featuring a 700-foot tall glass observation elevator that takes visitors to the top of the South Tower. At 600 feet above the road deck, guests can enjoy the stargazing bar and cafe nestled between the main cable saddles. Below the road deck, an 800-meter glass floor walkway inside the truss will give visitors the thrilling sensation of floating 224 to 404 meters above the ground. For adrenaline seekers, the bridge offers the world's highest bungee jump. Soaring 2,020 feet above the Bipan River, those less daring can still experience breathtaking views through the glass panel walkways and relax at a cafe overlooking Guangzhou's deepest canyon. The site will also include a stunning Zaha Hadid-inspired tourist center, showcasing the bridge's construction and canyon's rich history. Visitors can stay in private bungalows overlooking the bridge or explore the historic 1898 chain bridge at the canyon's bottom, gaining insight into over a century of Chinese bridge engineering. All in all, the Huajiang Canyon Bridge proves to be a landmark that isn't just functional, but also serves as a source of entertainment and education about Chinese history. And the best part? The Huajiang Canyon Bridge was officially opened on the 28th of September 2025. The bridge recently passed a 5-day load test in late August to determine if it's safe enough for public use. The goal of this test was to verify the bridge's structural strength, stiffness, and overall performance under heavy load conditions. According to Chinese media, the test involved positioning 96 heavy trucks weighing a combined total of about 3,300 to 3,360 metric tons across the bridge deck in carefully planned batches. Over the course of 5 days, these heavy trucks were driven onto designated points on the bridge to simulate real-world traffic loads, both static and dynamic. More than 400 sensors distributed throughout the structure monitored stress, displacement vibrations, and shifts in key components such as the main spar, towers, suspension cables, and suspenders. The safety test was successfully passed, confirming that the bridge met all safety standards and was fully capable of handling the anticipated traffic. This load testing process demonstrated the bridge's resilience despite its large scale and marked the final major step before the bridge's scheduled opening in late September of 2025. Of course, the path to completing this colossal project was laced with several challenges such as steep canyon slopes and powerful winds. The added attractions also added weight and wind resistance to the original design, so the planned 7.5 meter deep truss needed to be extended to a depth of 8 meters. Alimak Construction, the company contracted to supply 2 single-cage Alimak SC6532 construction hoists built on rack and pinion technology, also faced problems with wind speeds. Construction crews relied on some of the world's largest cranes and custom-built cable systems to swing sections into place. Measurements had to be accurate to the nearest millimeter. Every joint, every weld had to be perfect, because failure at this height is not an option. When it officially opened to the public on September the 28th, 2025, the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge didn't just connect 2 sides of a canyon, it connected communities, economies, and futures. And it cemented China's place at the forefront of megastructure engineering. At 625 meters above the canyon floor, this is the highest a bridge has ever dared to go. But here's the question: how much higher can humanity push the limits of engineering?